Let's have a look at Tim's stats. Deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
First player. Well, how the turntables have turned. Brett Nickiter, talk to me. And none of you buy him because you all bagged him for weeks.
That would have been good if you didn't say how the turntables have turned.
That's the line, idiots. Not big office guys?
Oh, no. Oh, watch it.
No, I knew what you were doing.
Thanks, Kat. I appreciate that.
Apologies.
It didn't make it funny, but I knew what you were doing.
Well, I think the office will probably arrive in Cooma in the next decade or so. So fingers crossed.
Haven't heard that joke in a week.
You won't hear it for another week too. Take us away, Brett Nickiter.
So one of the more purchased players this week obviously offers around 19 coverage to the next major buy round, and just a ridiculous draw for the Sharkies to come. Doggies this week, going to be nowhere near as easy as people seem to anticipate, with the Doggies having, I think, the second best defence in the competition. But then they go Titans, Tigers, bye in round 20, Cowboys, Rabbits, Titans, Knights, Dragons, Warriors, Manly. It's as good as it gets. Now, because the masses are, not the masses, but a fair few are flocking to him this week, I'm not trying to find an argument to not buy him. And I'm like, he hadn't scored that well this season. I'm like, he's certainly not a must-have by any means, and he definitely isn't. But, mate, you go through his numbers. He's averaging 60 this season with 47 in base. So I sort of thought, looking at those numbers, that his base was probably pretty poor. 47 is not too bad, about on par with last year. Prior to that game against the Dolphins where he went on a tear and scored his 120, in 11 games he had 1 try, no try assists, and 1 line break. He's locked into 80 minutes in a good team running off Nico Hines. It's quite hard not to justify, like at $570K, the buy. He might not be a world beater, but we know how good an attacking player he is. It astounds me that he's had that few attacking stats. So I'm like, if you buy him now and he offers around 19 coverage, a great draw, I just don't really see how he averages much less than 60 for the rest of the year, but the upside is there for all to see.
My personal take on this, he's a bad player, bad bloke. He probably doesn't give to charity. He will let you all down. Do not buy him. Do not go near him.
Yeah. And then you add on top of it, he's got a break even of like 3. So it's not necessarily now or never, but with that 120...
But he could come out and score 2 this weekend. That's what he's like, mate. Steer clear of him. You don't want anything to do with him. He's a bad egg.
Bad egg.
He's a bad egg. Nah, but with that draw, as you guys know, I've been very high on him for quite some time. I think he's in for a good little run. And that round 19 against the Tigers, who I know they just gave it to the Raiders, but I am looking forward to that clash.
Even the
Cowboys after that, man. Fuck.
Mate, their draw's mental. And like he had a 5-round average before that 120 game of 51.4. He hasn't scored that well this season, but even so, in those games with the Broncos, the Eels, the Panthers, the Storm, and the Roosters, so a very tough draw. Yeah, I'm very much warming to him at $570K. Like he started the year at $710K, averaged 70 points last year. I do like the buy.
Up until 3 weeks ago, I thought he was carrying an injury and was not all there. And I said that on the show and whatnot, and I was almost considering moving him on. But over the last 3 weeks, he's just sort of come back to himself.
Yeah, he looked awesome in that. So quick in that Dolphins game.
Yeah, looks good. All right, next man on the list, Ronaldo Mulitalo, another Shark, going at a pretty cheap price tag at the moment. Talk to me.
$492K.
Yeah.
So cheap. Now, we sort of knew that carved up early in the season with Nico Hines and Braden Trindle on deck. Nico, Trindle are back together now. Atkinson's out. How's this going to impact Ronaldo Mulitalo? So, start of the year, they played 8 games together, Trindle and Nico, with Mulitalo on the wing. Mulitalo averaged 85.28 in those 8 games. In that time, he had 9 tries. He just, with that draw upcoming, Sharkies, their defence is hit and miss, but they're a good attacking side, if nothing else. He just looks like a really good sort of 4th, 5th CT dub for the run home to me. Picking him up at that price, maybe there'll be a few lows in there where he doesn't score great, but I think there's going to be some big scores as well. Yeah, again, hard to argue with the buy.
What is he? $492K.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
It's a nice little bit of bicky. Yeah, already got a lot of Sharkies. But yeah, he's one that I'm also sort of tossing up and considering. I was actually considering maybe a Simi Sasagi up to him with all my Bicky.
And that's a question mark as well that I wanted to raise around too many Sharkies, because people are pretty heavily invested in the Roosters with a soft draw and a gun team. I feel confident the Roosters are going to come home strong.
Yep.
I think the Sharkies come home well, but I'm not confident. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if at any point the Sharks hit a wall and started losing games of footy and all of a sudden you've got 4 or 5 Sharks. And I know you're heavily invested in them, so you don't want to hear this, but I said I think they'll be fine, but it's a real possibility and you don't want to be stuck with too many of them if they do hit a bit of a flat spot.
Yeah, for sure. And they're one of those teams that could do it at any given moment, 100%. Yeah, so that'll be an interesting little watch. Now, the next man I am very interested in because I am one of the 0.002% that own him. Talk to me about Greg Marzhew.
Interesting one. Your boy Greg the Leg. He's down to 463K.
Oh.
Plays around 19. His score, so the Knights draw, I spoke about it before, the Knights draw to come, Eels, Raiders, Seagulls. 463K, he has 2 tries in 11 games this year. Mm-hmm. He's averaging 47. Mm-hmm. He has 7 scores under 50 points. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Kalen Ponga is so vital to his scoring on that left edge. But at the price, Kalen Ponga due back around 20 to 22, some sort of time there.
I think they've got to buy 21.
It's probably after that.
So I'd say it'll be 22, but yes.
In his last 6 games, he's had 41 tackle breaks and 105 runs. That's 6.8 tackle busts per game and 17.5 runs. So the way you view him this week is, all right, you're not paying for he started here at 789K, Greg Marzhew. You're paying 460K for him. Like, you don't, if you were to buy him, he doesn't have to come out and average 70 or 80 or like he averaged 77 last year. He can come out and average 50 and be around 19 buy number and potentially be elite when Kalen Ponga returns and have him in your team. Again, the numbers don't really say buy me. Sorry, the eye test in watching the Knights doesn't say buy me, but we've got a bloke who was probably the best CTW last year at that price. I said the output's been great. He's just not getting attacking stats. Again, now I know you're an owner. I don't know if you want people to buy or not buy, but the numbers are pretty good.
When you said to me pre-show, I've got some good numbers on Marzhew that you'll like, I was hoping for more than that, if I'm completely honest with you. But obviously, I've owned through this shit period. He was my 2nd draft pick overall, so I'm not overly high on Greg the Leg at the moment.
7 tackle busts and 17 runs per game. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just not getting any ball out there whatsoever. And until KP returns, I'm not sure if I see that changing all that much, realistically. Mate, he is, what is he at the moment? 463K. He's got a break even of 71. Like, he could be 400K in a few weeks. Personally, I've already made the decision that I'm going to swallow my pride and I'm going to hold him until KP returns.
Definitely.
I'm just going to do it. But I reckon for some of you out there, if you are looking to buy him, I reckon you can wait another few more weeks and get him even cheaper. Yeah. How much cheaper it'll be, I don't know, but
Everyone break him, yeah. Even his last 2 weeks, to be fair, they were against the Panthers and Storm. Panthers, Storm, Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Probably 3 best. Storm defence is not that good, but 3 of the best defensive teams in the NRL. Like, in the last 4 weeks, hasn't scored, hasn't had a line break. He's had 3 offloads. Like, has had no attack.
Yeah. And he hasn't looked like getting in the world of scoring.
How's Fletcher Sharps?
No, he's a runner.
Only a runner.
So I don't really see it change. That's as I just said, I don't see it changing that much until KP gets in. Once KP's in, Marzhew could be the greatest pod to have on the run home. He probably won't even be a pod.
Well, what's going to happen is, and that's why I'm like, because of that round 19 coverage in particular and his current price, when Ponga comes back in, Marzhew probably scores 120 with 1 try in his first game back, Ponga's first game back, and everyone flocks to him. I'm like, oh. Anyway, Just worth
He's
an eye.
definitely one to keep an eye on. And I think by the end of the year, he will be a huge talking point, Greg the Leg, for sure. Okay, Izack Tago, another one of my favourites. But my God, it's been hit and miss this year. I'm expecting these numbers to be really train wrecky, but they could be worse than I'm expecting. Take us away.
Did a real deep dive into Tago, actually. He's such a weird
It's the weirdest deep dive of all time. Like, even in my draft comp, he gets drafted heaps high and everyone treats him like he's a top 3 pick. He's not. He's like, he doesn't score well a lot of the time.
It's really the Nathan Cleary factor that I've dug into.
Yeah.
He's 433K, which seems ridiculous for a Penrith centre.
Yeah.
He's averaging 55 this season, which isn't even bad. He has a base of 34 per game. Excellent. He had back-to-back tons in round 2 and 3. Since then, he's scored over 47 twice. Those two scores were 58 and 74. In that stretch of 10 games, 2 tries and no try assists. Now, this is where Nathan Cleary comes into it. 4 games with Nathan Cleary as his halfback inside him this season. Scores of 46, 145, 134. In the 7 games to begin 2023 with Cleary, he averaged 85.43. He had highs of 158, 124 in that time. There's only one score under 53. Last year, there's only a couple of other games they played together, which is crazy, and I think Tago got injured in both of them.
Yeah.
Cleary back. There's been chat of round 18. I suspect probably more likely round 20 after their bye in round 19.
I reckon you see him on an extended next week.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
So make of these numbers what you will, but like 433K, 55 average, Cleary coming back, Cowboys this week. I don't mind it, mate.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. 433K, it's not bad.
Especially we know he can go big.
And I mean, mate, you have a look over the last few weeks, like without a single attacking start, 39, 37, 41, 41. If Nath Cleary can happen to just come in and create 1 or 2 things.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's not bad. Fair.
It's one that I'm like, if I was higher up in the rankings, I'd go, numbers aren't quite there. Probably don't need to risk a bloke coming in and scoring me 30s and 40s. But at my rank, I'm like, let's have a crack. I'm not saying I'm going to go Tago, but I'm like, you need to go a super pod somewhere, a super pod with upside in a gun team. I see merit in it.
I like the Mulitalo and Tago shouts. They're good. They're worth considering with the amount of money I've got and Simi Sasagi carrying at about 350K. Might be a play. Because, a big part of what my run home will be as soon as Nath Cleary is available, I bring him straight in. So if I could pair him up with Izack Tago, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.